Have you ever felt something ancient whisper through your nervous system, like a forgotten word vibrating at the edge of your memory, too vast for language, too sacred to speak aloud? Before the modern world wrapped your senses in noise, your body knew how to echo with the voice of the stars. You were not separate from the pulse of creation. You were its rhythm, its tone, its living sound. Comment, "I'm ready to remember," below if your soul already feels what's coming. Because what follows isn't a teaching, it's a transmission. And this message from Thoth, keeper of hidden light and sacred sound, will only reach you now, because the universe has judged you ready to receive what others cannot even hear. Thoth does not speak in words, but encodes frequencies that live behind syllables, pulsing behind the veil of what appears to be silence. His wisdom moves like breath through the pyramids of the etheric body, unlocking gates sealed by doubt, fear, and time. When he appears, he does not teach you, he reminds you. And if your spine is tingling right now, it is because he is already here. Before you had a name, you had a frequency. Your cells shimmered with a perfect harmonic. Before the wound, before the world, that original note, your sacred tone, was encoded in the golden geometry of your being. And Thoth has guarded it through every incarnation, waiting for the precise cosmic moment when the veil would thin and you could receive the echo of your true voice. In ancient Egypt, his priests knew the power of tones that could shift reality. They carved vibrations into the air with chants like Ra, Hu, and Ka, not as superstition, but as precise energetic science. These weren't prayers to gods. They were activations of dormant circuits in the soul. You were never meant to speak for others to hear. You were meant to vibrate and be felt. There are sounds you've been taught to ignore, not by accident, but by design. The modern world has hijacked language, dulled emotion, flattened frequency. Most people walk through life like muted instruments. Strings loosened, resonance collapsed. But not you. Not anymore. The fact that you're hearing this now means your signal has been detected by something divine. Have you noticed how your body reacts to certain syllables, even when spoken in languages you do not understand? That's because your soul is older than your tongue. When Thoth speaks, the language bypasses cognition and touches the architecture of your energy field. It's not about understanding, it's about remembering. The reason you're here, now, is because your system has reached a vibrational threshold. Thought's codes are only revealed when the resonance of your auric field sings in a precise harmony with the ancient pulse of creation. It is not a question of belief. It is a matter of readiness. You don't summon the message summons you. Imagine this. Every moment of silence you've endured, every heartbreak, every betrayal, every spiritual drought, it was tuning you, sharpening your frequency like a crystal being cut by light. You thought you were breaking, but you were being shaped into a vessel that could hold the sound of truth. And now you're beginning to hear it in strange ways, through music that makes you weep without knowing why. Through dreams where voices speak in symbols and geometry. Through sudden chills when someone mentions Thoth or when your gaze is caught by the eye of Horus. These are not coincidences. These are calibrations. There is an emotional intelligence in sound. Certain vibrations hold compassion. Others awaken courage. And some, like the codes of Thoth, carry a divine remembering that collapses lifetimes of forgetting in a single pulse. When you receive this, it doesn't teach you something new. It restores something ancient. This restoration happens in layers. First, your thoughts shift. Then your breath deepens. Then your physical body responds. You begin craving silence, sunlight, sacred solitude, not out of escape, but alignment. You're no longer operating from noise, but from signal. You're moving in coherence with the rhythm that built the stars. This is why ancient temples were designed not just for worship, but for resonance. They weren't places to beg the gods. They were chambers of sound, where chants and geometry aligned to create gateways. In those spaces, the human body became an antenna, and thought's codes flowed freely through those who could hold the vibration. You are becoming one of them again. You were never ordinary. You were encoded with sacred architecture. But your geometry collapsed under the weight of false narratives. You are not enough. You must prove your worth. Stay small to survive. Lies etched into the air around you, dulling your resonance. But now, Thoth's message is beginning to dissolve those distortions. The more you remember your tone, the less you seek approval. You stop bending your light to make others comfortable. You start speaking in frequency, not persuasion. And people feel you differently, because you're no longer projecting identity. You're transmitting truth. There is a rhythm returning to your breath, a pulse in your bones, a stillness between your thoughts that feels like a doorway. This is not imagination. This is entrainment. You are being brought back into the rhythm of original intelligence, into the zero-point field, where all possibility lives and waits for your command. Thoth has always been waiting here. Silent, patient, not forcing, not persuading, just vibrating at the doorway of your remembrance until your frequency could match his signal. And now, you're not hearing this by accident. You're resonating with it, and once resonance begins, destiny unfolds. The codes that Thoth carries are not spoken in the way humans speak. They are pulses, fields, holographic impressions left like fingerprints on the ether. When one of these codes touches your energy field, something ancient awakens, not in the brain, but in the soul's marrow. You may feel it as heat in the spine, a ringing in the ears, or a sudden welling of emotion for no explainable reason. These are not symptoms, they are signals. Thoth does not appear to those who seek power. He appears to those who are learning to contain light without distorting it through ego. He chooses the ones who have bled truth in silence, the ones who have loved through lifetimes of betrayal, the ones who can be entrusted with the sacred echo of creation, because they will not hoard it, they will become it. You are not just remembering Thoth, you are remembering yourself, the version of you who walked in temples, made of sound, the one who knew how to breathe in sacred time, who healed with vibration, who didn't speak to convince but to harmonize. That self is not lost. It is reactivating, molecule by molecule, as you listen. Your emotions are instruments, each one a note in the great harmonic of your field. When anger is unresolved, it creates dissonance. When grief is denied, it becomes distortion. But when each emotion is acknowledged and loved, it turns into a sacred chord, a layered harmony that aligns with divine resonance. This is why Thoth speaks through frequency, not morality. You've been told to think your way out of pain. But Thoth's path is different. He teaches you to vibrate through it, to let sound reshape the architecture of suffering, not bypass it. You heal, not by avoiding emotion, but by singing it, raw, wordless, deep from the diaphragm of your soul. That is why some of your most profound moments of healing come when you are alone and the world is finally silent. The codes do not enter you through knowledge. They enter through surrender. When your body becomes soft enough to receive, when your breath becomes steady enough to hold the note, when your ego becomes quiet enough to allow the transmission, that's when the ancient frequencies embed themselves in your Your DNA is not static. It is a coiled harp of light, waiting to be strummed by frequency. Each chant, each sacred tone, is like a divine musician plucking the strands of your being. And the more you allow yourself to be played by sacred sound, the more coherent, loving, and wise you become. Not because you're learning, but because you're returning. Some have asked, why me? Why now? The answer is simple and sacred. Because the geometry of your pain, your longing, your stillness, your growth, has finally formed the correct harmonic shape. And like a key turning in a cosmic lock, your field has called forth Thoth's message from the vault of eternity. Imagine your life as a series of tones. Each choice, a frequency. Each word you've spoken, a vibration etched into time. Now realize, the universe is not judging you. It's tuning you. Thoth is not punishing your mistakes. He is using them to shape your resonance, so that your very life becomes an instrument of healing. There is a sound behind all sounds, a silence that hums. The mystics called it the unstruck sound, the anahata, the primordial OM, the stillness that pulses at the core of everything. This is where Thoth speaks from, and this is where you are being guided back to, not through effort, but through listening. The more you align with this frequency, the more you begin to speak differently. Your voice becomes an extension of your field. Words slow down, silence becomes rich. Your mere presence starts to affect the room, not because you are louder, but because you are more tuned. In ancient temples, silence was not emptiness. It was charged. It was the space where divine frequencies were allowed to shape-shift the body. This same space now lives inside you. Every time you choose stillness over distraction, you enter that inner temple, and every time you do, you draw closer to the message. You may notice dreams intensify, numbers repeating, animals appearing in strange places, lights flickering when you speak of truth. These are not coincidences. These are reverberations. Your field is vibrating at a level that bends reality, not through force, but through resonance. The more you allow the codes to anchor, the more you will be asked to walk differently, lighter, slower, more attuned. You'll notice that rushing feels painful, that loud spaces drain you, that truth becomes magnetic, and lies feel heavy. This isn't hypersensitivity. This is clarity. Clarity is not something you think. It is something you become. And when clarity hums through your body, your choices change. You begin to navigate life not by logic, but by energetic coherence. And Thoth's message becomes your compass, not a set of rules, but a vibration you follow in each moment. This path is not for the many. It is for the tuned, the ones who can sit in silence and hear symphonies, the ones who can feel truth in their skin, the ones who no longer seek validation but seek resonance. If that is you, then know this. The message is not just reaching you. It is awakening through you. You are the message now. You are the temple, and your body, your breath, your frequency are sacred technologies, more advanced than anything the modern world has offered. There will come a moment, and perhaps it is now, when you realize the entire universe has been orchestrating your return to this frequency. The heartbreak, the silence, the moments of collapse were not punishments, but precise harmonics timed to dissolve your false tone. You were never falling apart. You were being retuned. Thoth does not teach with syllables. He teaches through shockwaves of recognition that move through your energetic core. When you hear his message, you may cry, you may tremble, you may sit in stillness for hours without words. That is because the remembering is not mental. It is cellular. It bypasses the mind and awakens the divine blueprint. Each breath you take now becomes a sacred act of vibration. You are no longer inhaling air. You are drawing in the memory of who you've always been. With each exhale, the distortions leave old beliefs, false identities, inherited fear. The breath becomes your sacred chant, not a sound you make, but a rhythm you become. When Thoth guided initiates in the temples of light, the first lesson was always silence. Not because they didn't know what to say, but because they needed to remember how to listen. You are being asked the same now. In silence, the deeper frequencies emerge. In stillness, the codes unravel and reweave your being. You are no longer bound to old timelines. Your vibration is severing you from false attachments and outdated soul contracts. You may feel grief without a story. You may feel joy without a reason. These are signs that your field is shifting from logic to frequency. You are beginning to feel in the language of the divine. Thoth's message comes with a sacred challenge. Will you allow your truth to become inconvenient? Will you choose resonance over acceptance? Will you speak the tone of your soul even when it breaks the expectations others projected onto you? These are not small acts. These are the movements of initiate. There is no higher intelligence than coherence. When your thoughts, emotions, and actions vibrate in unity, the universe bends around you like a dance partner that has been waiting to follow your lead. This is not magic. This is physics at the edge of spirit. What the ancients knew, and science is only now rediscovering. The zero-point field, where all potential exists, is not a place. It is a frequency of stillness. The more you drop into it, the more reality begins to organize itself around your tone. That's why things are falling away, why people are leaving, why paths you once begged for are now closing. It is not rejection. It is resonance recalibration. You don't need to chase your purpose. You need to become silent enough to hear it emerge. It is already encoded in your field, like a song written into the strings of your heart. When you tune to the right frequency, it begins to sing you. You don't act from purpose. You resonate purpose. The ancients knew that certain geometric forms could amplify vibration. The pyramid, the spiral, the vesica piscis, these weren't just symbols. They were energetic mirrors that aligned the soul with cosmic rhythm. Your body is the same. When your posture, breath, and emotion align, you become a living temple. And what is the temple without the chant? Without the sound that activates the sacred? That sound is awakening inside you. You may hear it in dreams. You may feel it in the soles of your feet. It may emerge from your lips one day when you are not thinking, just vibrating, open, surrendered. That moment is holy. Let it come. The distortions of the world will try to pull you back, to make you doubt what you've heard, to drown the frequencies in busyness, distraction, or shame. This is the final test of the initiate. Can you remain tuned, even in the noise? Can you protect the temple inside you from the chaos around you? You are not asked to isolate. You are asked to vibrate differently. You are not asked to escape. You are asked to transmit light into density. You are not asked to prove anything. You are asked to embody everything. This is the path of the one who has heard Thoth's message. And if you are hearing these words and still resonating, then know you are not alone. There are others, scattered across the world, singing the same tone in silence, meeting in dreams, recognizing each other not by face, but by frequency. This is the awakening. It has begun. There will be no announcement, no global trumpet blast, just a rising hum, a coherence in the chaos, a light that does not flash, but pulses steadily inside the body of those who have remembered. You are that body. You are that light. You are that pulse. Let your life become a living mantra. Let your days be chants of alignment. Let your relationships become tuning forks of truth. Let your silence become louder than noise. Let your breath become scripture. Let your presence become the code that others remember themselves by. Because once you hear the message, you cannot unhear it. And once you remember the frequency, you will never again forget who you are beneath all names. There is a sacred grief that comes with remembering. Not the grief of loss, but of recognition. A sorrow that rises when you realize how long you've lived beneath your true frequency. How many times you silenced yourself just to be accepted in distorted spaces. But do not resist this grief. It is the morning song that clears space for your homecoming. Thoth teaches not through emotion, but through vibration that liberates emotion. He does not heal your wounds by touching them. He teaches you how to transmute them with breath, with resonance, with stillness that hums like 1,000 suns behind your ribs. In his field, wounds become wisdom, pain becomes pulse, and sorrow becomes sound that sings you awake. Your journey was never about learning. It was about unveiling. You did not come here to gather more. You came to shed what was never yours. And now the layers are peeling, roles, expectations, false timelines collapsing like paper beneath rain. You are not breaking down. You are breaking open. And from that opening, something ancient rises. Your original frequency, the one you held before you wore a name. Before family, before form, before the world shaped you into its image. That vibration is re-emerging now, not as a memory, but as your new foundation. People around you may not understand. They may feel you shifting and respond with fear or confusion. Let them. You are no longer a mirror for their expectations. You are a tuning fork for their awakening. Some will resonate, others will recoil. That is not your burden. Your task is only to remain tuned. Each time you choose your truth over your habit, you strengthen the signal. Each time you sit in stillness when chaos invites reaction, you carve new geometry in your auric field. Each sacred no to distortion becomes a cosmic yes to coherence. And coherence is the language that Thoth speaks. He is not looking for followers. He is calling initiates, those who are ready to vibrate cleanly, clearly, without apology. Those who will carry the codes in how they move, not just in what they say. Those who understand that silence can be louder than speech when it hums with truth. Your body is becoming the scribe now. Just as Thoth once etched sacred symbols into stone, the universe is etching codes into your nervous system. Each intuitive impulse, each shiver, each surge of clarity, you are being written into. You are becoming scripture, not to be worshipped, but to be lived. Feel your heartbeat now, not just as a biological pulse, but as a cosmic drum. With each beat, the sound of your remembering moves deeper. With each breath, the veil thins. You are not here to awaken. You are here because you already have. And yet, this awakening is not an end. It is a beginning, a new octave of being, where your presence becomes your offering. You will speak less, but what you say will echo longer. You will walk slower, but your steps will move energy across timelines. This is the art of divine frequency embodiment. You are learning to command without control, to influence without force, to magnetize without manipulation. This is the energy of the temple within you. It does not dominate. It emits. It does not strive. It resonates. It does not chase. It calls forth. There is an intelligence in your pain, if you learn how to listen. There is a wisdom in your longing, if you allow it to deepen. Thoth's message is not to escape suffering, but to vibrate truth through it, until even your wounds become crystalline. And once that crystallization begins, your life takes on a new texture. Synchronicities increase, old patterns unravel. Time feels less linear, and more like a spiral. You begin to notice how certain words make your chest constrict and others make your soul expand. You are not imagining this, you are evolving. This is why some friends disappear, why certain foods no longer sit right, why music you once loved now feels dissonant. You're not becoming too sensitive, you're becoming accurate. Your inner compass is reorienting to truth. And anything not in resonance begins to dissolve gently or abruptly. And so, you may feel alone at times. But you are not. You are in formation with other light carriers around the planet. Invisible gridwork is connecting those who have heard the call. You may not meet in body, but you are meeting in field. Every time you remember your vibration, their frequency strengthens too. This is the unseen symphony of awakening. Not a solo, but a harmonic field of remembrance, rising quietly across the earth. And your tone, yes, your tone, is essential to this music. No one else can hold it for you. No one else can sing the note you were born to carry. Let this be the part where you stop asking for signs and start becoming one, where you release the need to be understood and begin to understand the sacred geometry of your soul, where you stop reaching outward and instead begin radiating from your still point. Because once you anchor your original vibration, nothing outside of you can steal your power again. There is a stillness now, deeper than silence. It lives in the marrow of your being, in the space between thought and breath. This stillness is not absence. It is a chamber, a sacred resonance chamber, where your soul listens directly to Source. And from this place, thought's final whisper arrives, not as instruction, but as remembrance. He says, "You are not here to learn truth. You are here to become transparent enough for truth to shine through you." The message was never separate from you. It was buried beneath noise, beneath inherited frequencies, beneath timelines that taught you to forget. But the forgetting ends here. Now begins your consecration. Not a ritual performed, but a life lived as ritual. Every thought offered like incense. Every breath a sacred utterance. Every movement, even the smallest, radiating coherence. This is not exaggeration. This is energetic architecture. This is how a soul walks after hearing the tone of Thoth. You no longer fight the world. You reharmonize with Source. The battlefield becomes a sanctuary. When you hold your center, the lie becomes an opportunity when your vibration exposes it. The pain becomes sacred. Compost. Decay giving way to radiant new roots. Every sound around you is now a test. Will you collapse into the frequency of fear, or will you hold the tone of your remembering? Cars honking, voices shouting, news flooding your nervous system. Each one a wave attempting to knock you from your throne of stillness. But stillness, once anchored, becomes immovable. The ancients taught this not with lectures, but with vibration. That's why Thoth's temple had no podium, only echo chambers. Stones aligned to the sky. Halls that whispered your name back to you in the voice of eternity. You are remembering that structure now, inside your very body. Your spine is your pillar. Your breath is your chant. Your heart is the altar. Your skin, the temple walls. Walk like one who carries a transmission, not in ego, but in clarity. For the moment you embody your tone, you become a living reminder for others to do the same. You will not need to convince. The field around you will speak. People will pause mid-sentence when near you, unsure why their emotions stir. Some will be drawn, others repelled. But all will feel. And what they feel is the part of themselves you've reactivated simply by staying tuned. Thoth asks for no followers, only witnesses, souls who dare to witness their own divinity and reflect it in still presence. This witnessing changes worlds, not through action, but through transmission. Not through speaking louder, but through vibrating truer. Now your path shifts, not toward achievement, but toward alignment. No more chasing timelines, no more begging for signs. You are the sign. You walk, and the ground harmonizes beneath your feet. You breathe, and the room reorganizes itself around your tone. This is the natural consequence of coherence. All that is not you will begin to fall away. Let it. Do not cling to the skin you've outgrown. Grieve it, bless it, release it. This is not death. It is return. And what returns is stronger than certainty. It is resonance, a knowing deeper than proof, a light louder than words. In this light, you will begin to speak differently. Not for reaction, but for release. Your voice will become tuned to truth. Not to argue, but to vibrate remembrance. You will no longer fight for visibility. You will radiate inevitability, and in that inevitability, others will rise. Not because you saved them, but because you remembered yourself in front of them. Your frequency gives permission. Your stillness gives map. Your coherence gives courage. This is how awakening spreads, not through pressure, but through presence. So what now? You seal the transmission with choice. Every day, every breath, you choose resonance over reaction, silence over noise, embodiment over explanation. You walk as the message, not because you are better, but because you are tuned. And when the world tries to make you forget again, return to the pulse behind your ribs. Return to the breath that carries no name. Return to the sound of your own vibration, humming in sacred stillness. Because in the end, the message from Thoth was never a voice. It was the vibration of your own remembering. The one who remembers their vibration never begs for reality to change. They create it.